Hello, hello, wherever you are in the world. My name is Nyasha van Rhijn. I am a business success strategist at Success on Your Own Terms, where I help entrepreneurs, small business owners, create order out of chaos via mindset, strategies, systems, and tools so that they can work on their business and no longer in it. I'm also the founder of the Woman Who Makes Things Happen show. And today it is my privilege to be interviewing Nyasha Gwatidzo, who was born in Zimbabwe and is a qualified psychotherapist, social worker, coach, and mentor. She works with disadvantaged people in the UK and Africa. She runs a multi-million pound social enterprise, Banya, which finds foster families for children in the care of local authorities. She founded a charity in the UK, Vana Trust, which raises funds for the children affected by HIV and AIDS in Zimbabwe, supporting their education. The trust also supports adults and young people here in the UK who have learning and emotional difficulties through her organic farm in I'm not good at that one. Buckinghamshire. You know that I'm not from the UK, so I'm not that familiar with it. So sorry for the listeners who are in that area. I don't know how to pronounce it. Welcome to the Woman Who Makes Things Happen show, Nyasha. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm really I'm pleased the spring is in the air.
The spring is in the air. Yes, it's amazing. It's amazing. It changes so much, huh? As soon as we start seeing the flowers blooming, etc. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. So tell us more about your story, because wow, it's quite impressive. So you have quite a story to share. Tell us.
Oh, my story started in Zimbabwe. I was born in Zimbabwe, and I came to UK when I was 12, and I went to school in Bradford and Sheffield. Came to London and stayed, and I'm still here.
And still here, but doing so much amazing things.
Yes.
So how did you come to all of that? So what is your background?
My background, actually, my first degree was in chemistry, science, and my background has always been interested in children. And since I was 4, I used to babysit children in Zimbabwe.
Wow, at 4?
At 4, I remember crying to my mom, would want to go and play with the baby next door, and she wouldn't let me go. And then I just started to, I was going to become an academic in the science world. And it was actually my tutor when I was doing my PhD who said, Nyasha, you seem to be very interested in working with people. Why don't you do something to do psychotherapy or counseling or social work? Because I was doing a lot of volunteer work then.
Yeah. So very young already.
And I was doing a lot of voluntary work. And he was saying, oh, this is very good for you to be doing things like that. So he's actually the person who actually found me a college for me to do my first psychotherapy course. And I left my PhD, and today I'm sort of living my dream, working and helping lots of children. To date, I've looked after more than 3,000 children in my foster care.
Wow.
That I used to run a therapeutic children's home, and very damaged children, unaccompanied minors, children who've been born in here, who've suffered a lot of trauma. Have been abused by their parents or step parents. So that it's been really a privilege to do what I love.
It's amazing. Just for I was going to say the listeners, but not the viewers, I just want to say that Nyasha has joined us from her iPad, and that must be quite low, so it may give the impression that she's not looking at you. It's just because that screen is very small. Okay. So that being said, so what's interesting is that you had a dream from a very young age already. Mm-hmm. And so always kept it as a focus for you. Is that the case?
Yes, it's always been. My dream was to look after children. And I've been ever so, but my mother always says today, she's not surprised I do what I do today. Every day she makes a point that, goodness me, you can really live your dream. and she thinks that I'm living my dream, and I agree with her.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, yeah, and I'm always telling other people that if I can do it, anyone can do it.
I love that.
Yeah, you just have to find what makes you get up in the morning.
Yeah, what makes you tick?
What makes you tick? Some people say, "Oh, I don't, I couldn't think what it is and whatever." And I'm always asking them, "What makes you tick? What makes you cry? What makes you get up in the morning?"
Mm-hmm.
If you go and watch a film, what will make you cry? What was it about?
Mm-hmm.
What did you like when you were a child? What did you used to do when you were a child? And when I was a child, I was surrounded by children. Honestly,
yeah, well, definitely. If at 4 you already wanted to babysit, that's an obvious one.
And I remember my mom once coming back, and I had all the village children, and we were all sleeping. I fell asleep. When the babies fell asleep, I fell asleep as well. She said, "Oh my God, my house is like a crash." She said, "Where did these children come from?" And it never surprised her. So it really, I think, when we're children, we're very much in touch with our gut reaction, what makes us happy. So if someone is looking or thinking, what can I be? Go back to when you were a child. What used to make you laugh?
When you had no limits.
When you didn't have any limits and you didn't have any fear.
Mm-hmm.
Because all this is, the fear is learned habit, isn't it?
Absolutely. So you had that dream to do something around children, but much more, because it was also about helping disadvantaged children.
Yes.
How quickly in the process of working with children did you manage to reach that? I would say the charity aspect of it, the work around disadvantaged children, and how quickly did that came into the loop? Did you manage to do that immediately, or?
I managed to do that quite quickly because I was doing, especially the children in Zimbabwe we look after. I was supporting them informally and without the structure of a charity. And then my accountant said, "Nyasha, why don't you, if you give money to or give resources, clothes and books, whatever, through a formal charity, why don't you set up a charity? So you can actually do this and you can make a corporate tax incentive business." And I thought, "Oh, I never knew that." And so it was and I just spoke to my friends and I said, "I would like to set this up. I needed 3 trustees." And they thought, "Well, why don't we do it? We've been helping you." Anyway, when my mother came to England, she used to take clothes and you name it. And I just asked the same friends to register the charity. Mm-hmm. And it was very quick. It's just amazing, the outcome of those children.
So you gave us already 2 tips. The first one is to be very clear about your why.
Yeah.
And the second one is to surround you with people who know what you don't know. So your accountant, for instance, and the advice they gave you.
Me and my tutor.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's I say it as a joke, but no, it is serious. Surround you with people who are knowledgeable, because we cannot know everything. So there are things we're very good at, and others where others are just better than what we are. So in the process, what would you say have been your biggest challenges?
At the beginning, my biggest challenge was the banks. They wouldn't open a bank account with me because they just didn't understand the concept of social enterprise. They said, "Oh, you make money from looking after children in care." And I said, "Yes." It was so strange to them. It really was so strange. And I went to every high street bank and they wouldn't open a bank account. And the final day I said, "Let me go to a Barclays bank." I had a real issue with Barclays bank. But I went and this man said, "Oh, I'll open a bank account with you, but I will not give you £1 overdraft." Mm-hmm. And there was my personal.
It was a starting point.
And I said, "Oh, I will take it, because at the moment I need to open a bank account." Mm. And that continued for a very long time. The banks really, and now I don't need their money, but they were really, really difficult for me to open a business and not having access to overdraft. That was the big challenge I ever faced. It wasn't what I was doing. But at the moment, as I said, now the banks wants to bank with me. Yeah. And I remember my account, the same account, they're saying one day an account, a bank manager took me to lunch and he said, that is a sign of success. Once a bank manager starts to take you lunch. I said, I didn't know. I didn't know the definition of success.
I must say that I arrived in London only 8 months ago, and the bank aspect has been quite challenging.
Yes, really.
It's taken me 5 months before I could open my business bank account. So I was operating with my business in France.
Yeah.
Because there was just no way I could do anything. So once the bank account was open, then of course it started being different. And of course they immediately said no overdraft. So I know what you're talking about.
It's still live today, that issue of the banks. It really is. Because I tried to open a bank account recently, about a year ago, about I'm trying to set up a social impact investment fund for Southern Africa. And I went to 2 banks and they said they will not open it. They've never heard of such a thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously in your case, you are in the type of businesses that are, it's quite new, of course. So they're a bit chilly there. Yeah. So other than that, any other challenges that you've been facing?
I think I faced racism. I think one of the reasons the banks wouldn't take me seriously because of my color, because of my gender, I think corporates really find it difficult to take you seriously. But it's never said. It's the no's, which you don't progress. It's never said because they're not allowed to. And it's always their gut reaction is to say no. And you have to go that extra mile. And I think I've seen it with a local government, even when they're trying to use my services I'm providing for children, they will go around it and almost come back to me. I mean, now I think I've earned my credibility, but at the beginning, the last resort, when no one else could help them, they would come to me.
Then they would come to you. Only then they would come to you.
That's right. And I said it was never said. But now, I mean, I was one of the first agents in London. My company is very well known. There's that partnership working, but it's taken a long time to be an equal partner.
But you don't give up. So the third tip is don't give up.
But that's the next tip, is that you've got to be determined.
Yeah.
In any business, in anything you want to do or to succeed in, you really have to have oodles of determination. Because people say no to you. What do you do when someone says no? It doesn't mean you go home and go under the duvet, never to come out again. You pick yourself and you keep on going.
And you just think that don't take no as an answer.
Don't take no for an answer. And it's just, if someone says to me, Nyasha, you cannot climb over that wall, I'll say, why not? If someone else has done it, why shouldn't I be able to climb over that wall?
And also, if you believe you can, why would you not do it?
Yes, it's a belief I can. And I got these messages from my parents, my father in particular, but they were both teachers, and they were very much into. I remember my father saying things to me when I was 4, saying, Nyasha, you can fly to the moon. I think that's when the first landing on the moon. And he said, somebody has flown to the moon, so you can. What's new? And I'm thinking, what is he talking about?
I don't want to go to the moon.
I want to go to the moon. But he was so clear about it. There was never any wavering in his support for what we did. And his benchmark was that if a human being has done it, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
A human being. That was his benchmark. I think, oh God, that was, he was very ambitious for us.
Yeah, and that's where, when you see the role that education plays, huh?
Yes,
definitely. I've heard you talk a few times about going for the extra mile. I've heard you talk about steps, which of course leads me to a book that you have written.
Yes.
About, tell us what it was about. About walking.
It was really a default. I walked for 16 days, the length of the River Thames, from its source, which is nothing, there's no water, to the London Barrier.
Mm-hmm.
And with a friend I walked with, she said, Nyasha, why don't you write a book about this? You've got to put a record of it. And I thought, I don't really want to write a book. I've never wanted to write a book. And I said, I don't want to write a book about walking. That'll be boring. So I thought, what could I do? So I thought, let me come up with a tip. For every day, I'll come up with a business or life tip of everything I've learned for the last 30 years. I've been an entrepreneur. And that's what the book was called, Walk With Me, through 16 inspirational business and life tips.
Mm-hmm.
And it ends every day. It starts really with taking the first step. And that no matter what, how glossy your business plan looks like, how whatever polished it is all done, it's never going to happen unless you actually take the first step. You've got to implement it. And I'm always saying, you mustn't wait for the perfect business plan. You just go and do it, and not spend a lot of time perfecting a business plan. And think, I'm waiting for the right time. I'm waiting for the right economic climate, whatever. There's never a wrong time. You just start and see what happens.
And there is never a perfect right time, so.
There's never a perfect right time. There's never gonna be. The world is not perfect. I go for good enough, and that's good for me.
Yeah, that's a good one as well. So why did you want to walk for 16 days?
I was raising money for my charity. Mm-hmm. We wanted to build a field shelter for our animals in the organic farm in Buckinghamshire. Mm-hmm. And I said it was going to cost us £14,000. And I said, I'll come up with a challenge, do something different out of my comfort zone. And I really, I'm one of 7 children. I've never been alone, and I've got a fear of being alone. So I thought the challenge for me was to walk alone. Mm-hmm. And so I said, I'm going to walk alone, and that's going to be the challenge.
Wow.
But you've got to be really careful what you wish for. Because of my fear, I never did walk alone.
You always found somebody to be with you.
I got a blog out there, and my niece joined me on Facebook. I've never been on Facebook. And I had all sorts of people write to me, join me in the walk. People, strangers. I've never met.
So that's manifestation. Instead of saying, I want to walk alone, you said, I don't want to.
I don't want to walk alone. Yeah, it's incredible. And not even one day did I walk alone, the whole journey. And
that's funny. That's really funny. So you projected the fear stronger than the will of overcoming that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. And so I really love also that, where you're living. How did you say it again? Buckinghamshire. Oh gosh, I find that one difficult.
Yeah.
Buckinghamshire. Yeah. So tell us about that organic farm. I mean, what do you do with it?
We've got 8 acres at the back of my house, and because I was in London, I used to run a therapeutic children's home, and I used to have an allotment. So I used to take some of my children to my allotment, and I found out that they really their behavior and whatever really improved since they started coming and nursing their own seedlings and having their little pot. They would come and tender. So while they were tendering for these seedlings or whatever they were growing, those nurturing themselves.
I love it.
Then I read a report about someone who works with victims of torture. She was given 4 elopements by Camden, and she wrote a paper about it. And I said, oh, I was doing it intuitively myself. I had never thought about this. And then I thought there might be something in here. So when I found myself with this land, I thought, what am I going to do with it? I can't, I thought of dividing it into elopements. And, and I just thought I would want to set up an organic therapeutic farm through my charity and have the local people come and use it. And just as I arrived, Buckinghamshire and Oxfordshire shut down nearly all the day centres. So there's nowhere people to go. So they now come to, it started with one child, young boy was 14, he's now nearly 21. And now we've got 85 people who come during the week. It's a day project. They come at 9 and leave about 3 o'clock. And the adults also, the carers don't want to go. When they come, they want to join in.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Look forward to it. It's just so incredible how people's self-esteem, confidence, they've gone off to work to have jobs in National Trust gardens. It's just incredible. It's just really just incredible.
I love how you make this all work together, fall into place, and and quite often, if I hear what you're saying, you're coming from an angle of, well, wanting to do good, of course, still having that dream, but starting with intuition, and by believing in what you're doing, you get the ball rolling, and it happens.
Yeah, I mean, this is so true. Trusting your gut feeling and believing what your gut feeling are telling you. It's incredible how much support you get because you've communicated your purpose, you've communicated your intention, your good intention. People come from nowhere to support you.
Yeah,
I'm always amazed by that.
On very different topics, I've experienced quite the same since I've arrived in London as well, but it's incredible how many people have been helping me. And as exactly what you say, when I rationalize it, I think it's normal because you attract what you personify, etc. But it doesn't stop surprising me each time. I'm like, wow.
Yes.
It really is impressive. So time goes very quickly, and you have multiple things that you could talk about in terms of where people can find you, how they can help you, etc. So tell us more about how people can find you and potentially how they can help you also.
People can find me on my website. I've got a website, my name, nyasha.gwatidzo.com. I've got Vana Trust. The charity has got a website which is vanatrust.org.uk, and I have got my book. I'm gonna make a series of workshops from my book, and it's called Walk With Me, and it's on on Amazon if people want to buy it. But the main thing I'm looking for at the moment, I'm gonna do another walk in July.
Where do you want to go? What are you going to do?
I'm going to walk across Zimbabwe, and I think it's going to be 24 days, I think. And so I'm looking for sponsors, people to sponsor me, people to come and walk with me.
So this time you're consciously wanting people to walk with you.
This time I'm going to ask people to walk with me.
Yeah, wow, 24 days in July.
And people can come and walk an hour with me, a step with me. It doesn't matter. It's just.
And so, what is your objective with that walk?
The objective of that walk is to establish the sewing enterprise in Zimbabwe. We've been given 24 sewing machines, and we're going to be working with women who are affected by HIV and AIDS. And again, the ultimate thing is to provide employment so that they can feed their children and send their children to school. And we've got a building, but we just need to renovate it, put electricity, and employ our first teacher to teach other women how to sew.
And that is something that they can find on on the website of your trust. Right. Okay. That's so if people would want to help you, they would find their information on how to help you.
Yes, definitely. It's all there.
I really love it. Your kids must be very proud of you.
Oh, they are. I remember the book walk. My son saying to a friend of mine, "My mom has written a book." He was just sort of a bit out of his head. It's, oh God, my mom is going to be famous now.
So if we come back to that book, Walk With Me, and the 16 tips that you give in there, if you were to give your top 3, which ones would that be?
The first one, always about purpose. You've got to have a purpose in life, and you've got to find it. The next one for me is you've got to take the first step. You've got to take action. There's no point talking about it for hours. I'm a very hands-on action person, so I love people taking action and taking that first step. And even if it's the wrong step, it doesn't matter.
You learn from it.
You learn from it. Keep going. And you've got to have a lot of stamina and determination.
So, in fact, you had already given them. So they are definitely your top 3 because that's what you came up with already.
Yes.
And oh gosh, I just forgot something that I wanted to ask you. What was it? It will come back. What do you consider your biggest success? That was not a question, but that's another question.
The biggest success really is balancing being a mother, now a grandmother, as well as living my dream, helping other children. I think it's I'm really proud of that success, that I've been able to have my own children and to balance it, to really balance it,
Beautiful. And of course, now I remember what I wanted to ask. So what I wanted to ask is, how do you overcome your fears? Except for walking alone, of course.
First things. How do I overcome my fears? I always go back. I definitely have got fears. I did have fears of walking alone. I always go back to my intention and my gut feeling. If something is feeling good in my gut, I find that fear can be quite superficial because my gut is telling me that it's okay. And also, fear can be quite disabling.
Yes, definitely.
And I'm not, on that level, I think I'm quite fearless because it doesn't matter. I don't want to be disabled by anything. And I do not like to work under fear. You know, when you think someone is, when you're trying to work with local authority or something, they're almost blackmailing you and what. And I'm always going back saying, I don't work very well under fear because it just doesn't work. It's not a good premise of working with somebody. So
in fact, you're very conscious also of what is good for you and what isn't.
Yes. And fear is one of the things I don't work well when I'm under fear. So go back and say, really, what am I scared of? And most of the time, actually, I'm more scared of myself.
Yes, of course. Of course.
Yes.
I always say to my clients, what is it that you're scared of? And then whatever they come up with, I ask, is it true?
Yes.
And well, normally, most of the time they say no, because of course it's relevant. And if they really believe that it is true, I ask them where the proof is, and there is none, of course.
It's only your mind.
Yeah. We are our biggest enemies, in fact.
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Nyasha, I really enjoyed this interview. Thank you so much. It was lovely. And you are an inspiration. I love to see that drive and determination, as you say. But I love it more particularly because it's all about doing good for others. And yeah, I really love that. Thank you so much for it. So for the viewers and the listeners, if you too want to make your dream come true, whether it is a dream that you had as a child, as was the case for Nyasha, or whether it's something that comes up later, or if you are in need to reinvent your life, as has been the case multiple times for me, you can definitely contact me to have a free discovery consultation so that we can have a look at how I can help you achieve that. And you will definitely walk away with whatever tips are relevant to your specific the situation already. So you can do that by going to my website, and that is www.anyesvanrhijn.com, and that is ANYESVANRHIJN.com. See you in next interview. Goodbye.